Hey guys, Tarke here, and I want to talk about my league plans and starter builds for 3.2. I will be playing hardcore SSF, and that quite heavily dictates the kind of builds I want to play. I will also leave a link to a few builds down below, and also a link to my Ascendancy Tier List, which does also have some build suggestions at the bottom there for anyone who's still really struggling to find their builds. Now, when it comes to approaching the game for hardcore and approaching the game for SSF, what are the main sort of things that I need to take into account? So one of the big thing right off the bat is stuff like threshold jewels. Now, normally if you're playing a build such as, say, Freeze Pulse, and you need 2 threshold jewels, you get one yourself in Act 5, and then you just quickly buy one from someone else. For me, if I want to play, for example, Freeze Pulse, I need to get 2 characters to Act 5, or be lucky and have one drop. Now, because of that, Freeze Pulse Totems is what I would actually like to play, and Freeze Pulse Totems is my safety build. I've prepared a skill tree for both Tectonic Strike and Spectral Shield Throw. I'll go through the Tectonic Strike skill first, then Shield Throw second. Haven't decided which of the two I'm leaning towards yet. Both of them are solid, but I'm going to pick one and just play that. Then if by Act 5 I'm not liking the feel of the new skill, then what I'll do is I'll kill Innocence, get 1 Freeze Pulse Threshold Jewel, and then I will re-roll onto a Hierophant, get my second Freeze Pulse Jewel Act 5, and I will play Freeze Pulse Totems. But let's get into the Tectonic Jug. My main plan is just to go Resolute Technique with whatever two-handed weapon I can. The skill has inbuilt fire conversion, and because of inbuilt fire conversion, because of having very limited gear, because SSF, by the way, Chieftain is an absolute no-brainer. Now, most people are going, oh, but thick point Jug, go Jug, go Jug. Yes, you can do lots of damage with Jug with Undeniable and using lots of unique items which scale very well with accuracy. That requires using lots of unique items that scale very well with accuracy. Without that, Jug is just a lot of survivability and not really that much damage. While Chieftain is a whole load of damage and still has some endurance charge support. So, Tahawa gives you, when you or your totems kill a burning enemy, 20% chance for you and your totems to gain an endurance charge. You use Herald of Ash, you burn enemies, there will be random enemies burning. I will be getting some endurance charges passively through that. The way that Tectonic Strike works, it's kind of like a fancy looking Sunder. When you Sunder, there's a chance that it creates little earthquake effects randomly. If it uses a endurance charge, it does 18% more damage and does the maximum number of earthquakey effects. But you don't need to use endurance charge to get the earthquake style effects. Yes, with a Juggernaut, you'll have more consistent endurance charge generation, but Chieftain has so much inbuilt damage that on a budget, this will do more than enough damage, even without the 18% more if you don't always have it for single target. And going into a boss, you'll always have a bunch spare from just general mapping, and you can always just use Enduring Cry. So this would give me the other 50% of my physical to fire conversion. Again, SSF, by the way. I can't just buy up Azov's Blood, and it saves me from having to go all the way up the tree to Avatar Fire, and it means that I can still use Hatred and have pretty nice damage. Hinokora Death's Fury gives me some percent strength scaling, a bunch of fire damage, some extra fire leech, and totem leech for like a war chief totem or something, and it gives 10% chance to cover rare or unique enemies in ash. Enemies covered in ash move slower and take 20% increased fire damage, so this alone would make up for the 18% more missed out every now and again on single target. This gives me a whole bunch of regen. All these minor nodes give me a bunch of regen. This gives me a bunch of fire damage per endurance charge. And then Ramako Sun's Light gives me even more fire resistance, more regen, 10% of physical damage from hits taken as fire damage, so just some nice fizz mitigation. Makes up some of the fizz mitigation I'm losing from being not being a Jug. More regen if we've been hit recently, and unaffected by Ignite. And yeah, this tree is one that I cleaned up a little bit and was a viewer's build. He was going like Itzeris, Combs, all this good stuff. I'm probably not going to have an Itzeris and a Combs. The reason why there's no average damage is because all we have plugged into the path of building is a Herald of Ash and a Hatred, because we haven't yet got the new skills. But yeah, go two-hand, go RT. If you're Mace, go Mace. If you're Axe, go Axe. That's basically the plan for that. And that is a build I will maybe do. Spectral Shield Throw is slightly harder to plan, Now, Spectral Shield Throw is a very awkward skill, and some people might recognize the skill tree. Before you all start freaking out about the holy skill grimmage that happens going from Psalm Life up to Ellie Overload. So the way that Spectral Shield Throw works is you cannot scale it with, like, weapon mods. You can't scale it with, like, crit multi while you wielding a sword because you attack with the shield. So because of that, you need to just have, like, generic damage scaling, projectile scaling, while holding a shield and stuff like that. Because of that, going crit is a little bit awkward. Well, you can get the base crit quite high using a energy shield base shield. There isn't that much crit multiplier available to it. And again, SSF, by the way, limited gear, just trying to make the best of what we've got. I think going for some easy 100% elemental conversion, using these nodes, which give me just elemental damage with attack skills, attack skills, attack skills. Yes, I will miss out on the pen on this node, but this is still a 40% elemental wed node. We're unsure if Fangs of Frost will work with it from a pen point of view. If it does work with it, and I can get a Rim Sorrow drop and a mostly cold damage, there's still very efficient scaling of 12%, 12%, 30%, even without the pen, that's pretty good scaling. Get some Leech, get some attack speed, get some Fizz. Stuff like increased defenses from equipped shields, this won't scale up the damage. So most of your Spectral Throw damage comes from, it takes the flat armor and evasion of your shield and converts it into Fizz. It just takes what the base shield has. Scaling evasion and stuff on the tree won't boost that any higher. So it just takes what your base shield stats are. Using essences, you can quite easily just craft like a high armor or higher evasion shield. That's basically my go-to goal. And then just use whatever random unique weapon drops me as a good stat stick. Come through, get life, get some proj damage, get some attack speed. This is just physical attack damage while holding a shield, so this works for me. Gives me a teeny weeny bit of block, gives me some more physical attack damage while holding a shield. Pick up some passive increased defense with equipped shields. Again, this won't scale my damage, but will give me some extra defense. Get a jewel, get some attack speed, get some life. This is some global fizz damage, get some strength. Come through, get some regen, get some int. This will make up for any gear requirements. Get Ellie Overload, get some life regen. Get some more attack speed, more life, get some Ellie damage, get some elemental damage with attacks, and a bunch of jewels. The main idea of this build is to get just the most flat fizz we can, convert it all into elemental damage, get as much attack speed as possible, shield charge really fast, be a Deadeye, have gathering winds, go fast, go fast, go fast, and yeah, also planning around not having my Uber Lab too early. Fast shot is basically mandatory for increased projectile speed, and the whole point of this skill tree is also to maximize on projectile speed. We have projectile speed from here, here, here. With this combined, we have 75% increased projectile speed. I've seen a lot of people sending me Spectral Shield Throw builds without any projectile speed. I think projectile speed is basically mandatory for the skill to feel good from everything we've seen teased of it. Now, I will try out Ricochet, and see how Chain feels with it. I might do stuff with Chain, I might do stuff with Fork. Without actually playing with the skill, I don't know if Ricochet will feel good or if this will be enough. But yeah, if it feels great, brilliant. If not, then I'll do something like this. And if this build completely flops, then I can use this tree later as just Immolate Tornado Shot. This is basically the exact same routing I took on my Immolate Tornado Shot Slayer from a few leagues ago. And as previously mentioned, if I choose to do Spectral Shield Throw, I'll play it through to Act 5. If I'm not really feeling it and I think, oh, I might convert this into a bow build later, I'll just pick up my Freeze Pulse Jewel, and then we will make a Hyro. This is the tree I would use for Freeze Pulse Totems Hierophant. Very important to get projectile speed from Sniper and get basically any projectile speed you can just randomly on gear. The reason why I'm choosing Freeze Pulse over Frostbolt. Frostbolt doesn't have as good single target damage. It also has more of like a ramp up time to it. So while it does have better map clear in very open maps, like for example Dunes or something, generally Freeze Pulse just feels a lot smoother to play. And for anyone wondering about the damage numbers on any of these, this was just me working out what my crit chance would be with just some crit weapons and a tabula, and you can see the crit is very nice, very smooth. And yeah, go through, get totem stuff, get totem crit stuff, get some life, get some crit, get some life, get some mana, get some jewels, crit multi, life, crit multi, crit multi, crit multi, well, any damage, crit chance, life, attack speed, some life, proj speed, some more life, 177% life plus 40% mom, really powerful. We'll also have some endurance charges and reduced elemental damage while we have endurance charges. Pretty good. We'll also have loads of placement speed, and that's sort of the tree. Pretty straightforward. Some people have planned some trees without going for Ancestral Bond. You don't really gain that much, to be honest, with this kind of a tree. You basically come down to Psalm Life, and you pick up Totemic Mastery. This tree is about 10% more life. This tree has another totem, which would be a lot more damage in the case of single target. It also has some extra crit multi, which, you know, this definitely makes up for the missed out node down here. There's not really too much you can do, really, to mess around with this tree. So for anyone who wants to do any kind of crit-based Hierophant totems, I would recommend routing sort of similar to this. If you want to do stuff with AoE, get the AoE nodes. The reason why I don't want to go Glacial Cascade totems, Glacial Cascade totems do a lot of damage, yes, but the map clear isn't that good, especially not compared to something like Freeze Pulse. And also, you really want to use Hatred, and for that, you really want to use an Essence Worm. Running Glacial Cascade without an Essence Worm, SSF by the way, would make my Mind Over Matter substantially weaker, and would generally make my build a lot less tanky and hardcore SSF by the way. So yes, those will have some rough pace spins. They're mostly just gear and, you know, like link setups, but those will all be there. Other things which seem kind of interesting, Scorching Ray is always very solid and got quite substantially buffed with the added stuff to Trickster. Really good. I did consider doing this build a lot. There'll also be a link to this down below. Why did I choose not to do it? To be honest, I don't really know. I always find leveling Scorching Ray a little bit Resident Sleeper, and also this part of the tree always feels absolutely terrible. It gets a lot of like front-loaded damage, and then it just like has really bad quality of life until it comes through getting stuff like Ellie Overload, Mind Over Matter, and Ellie Equilibrium. Another build that I was very much leaning towards was playing a miner. You guys know how much I love playing mines. I think that the new Saboteur with buffed Born in the Shadows and Pyromaniac is absolutely insane, giving you crazy amounts of regen and defense. Really, really powerful. You can level as Glacial Cascade mines, you can level as Frostspot mines if you want to. You can then transition into Kinetic Blast mines for better map clear. You can see that the skill tree respec is very, very minimal. So it's not expensive at all to respec even in an SSF environment. And then in a trade league, I'd recommend a tree looking something like this, where you pick up 2 Inspired Learnings for a budget Headhunter style effect. The reason why I'm not doing this is SSF, by the way, you guessed it, and I can't guarantee having a Detonate Mines drop for me early on. This is one of those things that if I got a Detonate Mines drop for me within the first few hours of play, and I wasn't crazy enjoying Spectral Shield Throw, I would consider re-rolling onto a miner, but I can just play mines later into the league. Also, for anyone who's been really missing traps, I think that traps might actually be usable with Chain Reaction, Pyromaniac, Born in the Shadows. I did play a Lightning Trap Inquisitor last league. It felt surprisingly smooth, and the cooldowns weren't really that much of an issue. And while I wouldn't have Tinker Skin in an SSF style environment, I played a Trapper as an Inquiz, and the Inquiz didn't have this 50% cooldown recovery, so playing a Saboteur without Tinker Skin would still be 10% more cooldown recovery than I'm used to, and that was like a 1.1 second recharge on Lightning Trap. And yeah, to be honest, I think it would kind of be fine. So if you really wanted to play a Trapper, you could. Your tree would look kind of like this, except for you take the Trap cluster instead of the Mine cluster. And the rest of the tree would be basically identical. So yeah, that's kind of that. We are SSF hardcore, by the way, and if you were to ask me right now, I'm leaning to Shield Throw more than Tectonic Strike, but I think Tectonic Strike will be a safer bet. The Shield Throw is a little kind of like, Monka-esque, this might fall flat on its face. And yes, I'm Tarke, hyped for Pokemon League. Have a good day. Bye-bye.